In order to explain the structure of kidneys, visuals are needed. I have here a large lateral view of a kidney, and later in my video I'm going to provide an eye-opening demonstration. Alright, I have labeled the main parts of the kidney right here, but there are also much smaller units that are located inside the kidney that need to be talked about as well. Before I break down the structure, allow me to explain where the kidneys are located. The kidneys are located at the bottom of the rib cage, almost in the lower back, but not quite. They are about the size of a fist and are bean-shaped. On top of each kidney sits an adrenal gland, right here, like a little hat. And it is an organ of the endocrine or hormone system and is responsible for releasing a hormone that increases blood glucose, but it is an entirely different organ from the kidney. It just happens to be on top of it. Leading into each kidney is a renal artery right here, this red one, and it is responsible for providing a rich blood supply for the kidney to filter. There's also a renal vein that goes into the kidney, but my model doesn't show that. Right here, this white structure is a ureter. Each kidney has one, and it is responsible for draining waste or urine from the kidney down into the bladder and out of the body. Now let's move on to the more complex structures inside the kidney. Inside each kidney, there are 1 million nephrons, which are the units that are responsible for removing waste from the blood. The structure inside the nephron that filters the waste is called a glomerulus, a long name for a tiny structure. Despite all the complicated terms used to describe each part of the glomerulus, a glomerulus is essentially a tiny blood vessel intertwined with a urine-collecting tubule. Alright, I have labeled all the main parts inside of the kidney. Up here is called the medulla. It's just a fancy name for the top of the kidney. Right here we have the renal pelvis, which is where the urine collects and drains into the ureter. Right here, these little pockets, kind of pyramid looking things, they're collecting cups. They're called calyces, and that's where urine collects, and then it goes into the renal pelvis and down the ureter. And right here is what a nephron looks like. So here is the nephron. Right here you can see how there's small capillaries or tiny blood vessels that intertwine with this tubule right here, which is where the filtering actually happens. So once it gets the blood supply in here, it goes down these tubules. Do you see that? And it drains right here down this pyramid, and it leads into the calyces right here, then finally to the renal pelvis, down the ureter. Now we've seen a lot of pictures and models, but wouldn't it be much more fun to see what a real live kidney looks like? In order to really have a nice understanding of kidneys and their structure, you won't want to miss my next demonstration. Are you suffering from kidney stones? Stop drinking all that soda and start taking the Stone Crusher. Hello there, my name is Dr. Crystal Vigil, and when my patients are suffering from kidney stones, I give them nothing other than the Stone Crusher. And we're back. So I have purchased an actual kidney. It's a beef kidney, I believe, and I already pre-dissected it, so I'm just gonna open it up to show you, but I just want to point out a few things about it. You notice how there's fat right about in the middle of it? Usually when it's inside, it's in the body, it's actually surrounded by a thick layer of fat, so it's protected from any sort of injury. But obviously when I purchased it, they had to take it out. Alright, let's open it up. Okay, I made a mid-sagittal incision inside of my kidney, which means I cut it down the middle and I separated the left and right sides of my kidney. So let's split it open and take a look inside. So we can see that there's fat on the inside as well. And right here, this tube is the ureter, because it connects down here inside to another little tube. So this is where the urine drains out. Up here is the medulla. And right here, the structures on the sides right here are the renal pyramids, and this is where the nephrons are located, but you can't see them right now because You have to see them in a microscope. They're very, very tiny. And in between, the little space in between each pyramid are renal columns. And yes, a lot of the most important structures of the inside of the kidney are microscopic, so you can only see what you see right here. To summarize this chapter on kidney anatomy, let's review on some key points. Each kidney has 1,000,000 nephrons, which are the units responsible for filtering blood. And the structure inside the nephron that is responsible for that is called the glomerulus. The kidneys are protected by the rib cage, the back muscles, and a thick layer of fat, which is called adipose tissue. The renal artery supplies blood to the kidneys for filtration, and the renal vein drains the blood with waste out. Wastes, or urine, travel down the ureter, down to the bladder, and out of the body. Even though the adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys, they are an entirely different organ and do not play a role in kidney function. They do, however, secrete hormones to increase blood sugar. That was a basic summary for Chapter 2, Kidney Anatomy, but let's move on to more interesting facts in Chapter 3, Kidney Function, or Physiology. Hopefully this dissection made things clearer and more interesting. I will explain exactly how the blood is filtered and 8 surprising, vital functions that most people do not know that kidneys maintain in my next video.